Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey Amanda, Steph Telemark. Welcome to episode 4 of Digital for Everyone. Hey Florence, Jinsjo. How's everybody doing tonight? My bed is out of control and hopefully we will be taming that soon. But I'm here to deliver you guys another episode of Digital for Everyone. Hey Webgold, welcome. Ryan Olton, welcome again. Thanks for being so consistent and joining us. So how's everybody doing tonight? So we are going to go live with Webgold. Hey Florence. So guys, I thank you guys for joining us. We have with us here tonight, we have Stephan De Roche, CEO of Webgold. Welcome, Stephan. I know seems we're having a little connection issues, but that's okay.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you, but your video is still taking a little bit to start up.
Okay, I'm seeing your video and I'm seeing mine, so hopefully it'll show up soon.
Okay, no problem. No problem. In the meantime, I've just for anyone who's new, Digital for Everyone is a free weekly live. It's about 30 minutes long, and we focus on bringing all of the massive aspects of digital together into sort of breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. So, we started the lives with a discussion about, what is design? And design in digital is not just, how does your product look? It's a lot of things. We moved on to speaking to, not methods of communication, sorry, but philosophies of communication. The more nitty-gritty. And I think the best way to kick that off is e-commerce because of this COVID-19 world. Is anyone else seeing Stephan? Because I'm not seeing on my end, so maybe it is my problem. Stephan, I'm going to try and bring you back in 1 second. I know I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, welcome. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm hearing you loud and clear. Jason Marcano, welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
See me now?
Yes, I'm seeing you now. Okay.
Great.
So this will actually give me time to introduce the team and everything. So Stephan here is the CEO at Webgold. It's a full-service digital agency focused on delivering tailored online solutions for local and regional brands. Stephan himself is a powerful business driver whose entrepreneurial instincts and sort of clarity of vision have carried multiple companies through rapid growth. Stephan came highly recommended to me to speak about e-commerce, and I thought that e-commerce is it's on everybody's mind right now with the 500 food delivery services, and every company is reacting to COVID in a different way. So it's sort of catapulting Trinidad into an online, getting people comfortable with buying locally online. So without diving too much more into it myself, I want to hand it over to Stephan. And Stephan's topic today is e-commerce in a post-COVID-19 world. So Stephan, if you want to take it away.
Thank you, Robert. So basically, for those who know me, I'm running two companies really. One is Webgold and one is Buzz. And I'll kind of go into buzz at the end of it and kind of give you all some ideas on what we're actually doing to help small businesses with e-commerce. Now, Webgold has traditionally done a lot of work in the enterprise field. So we work with a lot of banks in the region and a couple other companies in different sectors. Now, COVID has hit and it has had a tremendous impact on the way not just large companies do business, but also how small companies do business or even currently not doing business. But that doesn't mean that we should not take some time to think about how are we going to kind of get off our feet and get going post-COVID. And of course, COVID also caused a lot of changes in the business environment in terms of how we actually sell and how we buy. And one of the major things that have changed is the actual last leg of the sale, which is normally you going to a store and physically buying a good. And that last leg is now changed into you actually staying home and receiving that good. And so one of the major things that's going to come out of COVID is, and one of the major drivers for us to go online is called basically convenience. And so post-COVID, convenience is one of the major factors that we look at that's going to cause or drive businesses to change. The other aspect or the other business driver is the digitization of services that we normally would have gone out for. For example, food. It's been digitized. We can just basically buy food now online, have it delivered to us. The way in which we consume.
I still can't swipe for a doubles though. I mean, we're almost there. I feel, but I think we'll get there soon.
I feel you on that one. We can't swipe for it. Still have to kind of pass some cash there, but I think that and all will change eventually. And we're seeing other countries rolling out full digital currencies as well. So that will also probably trickle down to here as well. Some of the traditional things as well are changing. The way in which we actually educate, and we're not going to go to school too often. A lot of universities are going to close in the States, and guess what? A lot of schools may actually not open back here too. Online education is going to change, and we're seeing now universities getting into special focus academies, and now a lot more training and schooling will happen online, and it's not isolated to just Trinidad alone. So it doesn't matter if we're in the field of business where food is concerned or education is concerned or retail products is concerned. We all have to have a digital strategy. So that's why I'm really glad this program has come about. It really helps us to put some perspective on things that we now need to do as opposed to optionally do as a business long time. It's like, we could just live without an e-commerce website, but now it's critical.
So just like, let's say, well, more than 5 years ago now, but when you sort of, maybe I'll have a Facebook page. Now, if you don't have a Facebook page, you don't exist. So you're saying that now, if you're not on in e-commerce in some form or fashion, that's sort of the next step in necessities.
Well, I'll admit that, yes, because a lot of businesses got caught with their pants down from large to small, let's face it. And we saw them trying to adapt, trying to figure themselves out. Even the large ones that we go and buy, I'm not going to call any groceries or shopping centers, but I've heard from some of them, and they're literally still trying to get their act together. And the reality of it is that, post-COVID, some of these habits would have been instilled in us, and the convenience factor would win still. Also, let's look at the elderly. They will still be afraid to venture out in a post-COVID world. So they've been kind of forced to have people either buy things for them or buy it themselves and go online and buy things.
Right.
So these buying habits will persist, especially if COVID persists longer than it is right now. The other driver is, of course, social distancing. Let's take a retail outlet, for example, a mall. If you have a mall and you have to distance people, the amount of foot traffic that you're going to get into a shop is going to be reduced. The buying power of the consumer is already reduced because some of them don't have jobs. So, from some of our larger distribution companies, I just spoke to one today, whereas you would normally have premium items being bought, people are buying less premium items to stretch a dollar. So these are all factors that affect commerce, but in general, it's going to eventually affect digital commerce, and for better, because now people are going to say, well, instead of me physically going out and spending money to travel, probably risk myself, can I get the same item online? Can I browse a little bit more and compare? So the whole idea of, looking at a product online and, the normal Facebook thing, what's the price? That's going to change because
Yeah. In box for price.
All that's going to change. The people who offer prices up front are going to win.
So just a quick question. We have a question. Ms. Titi wants to know, if I'm a small business owner, is it expensive for me to set up e-commerce?
That is a ticklish question, and I want to get into the whole setup of it. I think I'll answer it by saying it can be expensive, but it also can be very affordable depending on the route that we choose. And, selling online and digital commerce, you don't always have to have an e-commerce shop, maybe you're a service provider. All you really need to do is collect a payment. So there are options for that. And maybe you are...
So for example, if I'm a plumber and I want to get paid for a job, that's another opportunity as well.
Correct. So there are tools available that we can use and payment services that are rolling out and are still coming out that allow us to, and probably some of them they're actually in the market right now, that allows us simply just collect a payment. And that's a great starting point because you're starting a digital conversation and digital transaction. And then you can evolve and grow into having an actual shop if you're a retailer. But what if you're not a retailer? How do you access digital commerce? So, for example, Webgold is not a retailer, but we sell digital products. That's another area of that we can go into. And so these are, sometimes it can be considered costly if you don't have maybe the experience or the right teams, or maybe you don't have a budget. But you can start small and you can grow. And I'm going to kind of talk about some of those details in a little bit. Any other questions before I continue?
Sean Gonzalez had just said that I think there's an issue with inventory management that affects prices of retail e-commerce as opposed to service transactions. Do you want to comment on that before you sort of really dive in? Right.
So sometimes you do get a measure of challenges if you don't have an inventory system. And many people who sell online right now, probably I guess they use WooCommerce or Shopify, which has inventory systems. But if you're not using one of those type of systems, you're going to have a big problem with inventory management. And it helps if you are able to tie those two things together as well. So for the larger businesses, you probably have your own inventory system, an ERP. Sometimes it's difficult to actually marry the two systems because one is online and it's running on a separate database, and the other one is offline and running on its own database. So there's probably a challenge in getting those two things to talk together. That's more advanced, and I would leave it for another time. But I would say to solve that problem as a small business, what you can do if you have maybe a point-of-sale system that has your inventory and then you have your e-commerce website is keep two separate inventories and separate your products into online and offline. And that normally helps as a small business.
Okay. So just for context before you dive in, I'd asked Stephan to kind of speak to the sort of like, to sort of speak to it in terms of like, if your aunt had a small business, not massive, but she has a couple employees and she wants to get into e-commerce. So he's going to take us through sort of that perspective. I know there's tons of stuff that we could get into. As you just said, that inventory thing is usually something for a larger company, but we're kind of going to focus on e-commerce for the small business, small guy, which is a lot of the companies that have been really adversely affected with COVID. Right. So,
Okay, so typically there are many times two types of e-commerce that people would enter into. One is called first party, and I'll explain it. And then the other one is called third party. So those of you who know companies like that would have started out initially like WePay and maybe Paywise or BuzzPay, which is a service that we offer. These are traditionally what we call third party because they are intermediary services between financial organizations, and they would have an agreement to offer these services. Whereas first party means that you are directly connected to your bank where e-commerce is concerned. So if you have a merchant account, you have a business account, So let's deal with the first party first. If you have a business account from maybe Republic Bank or Royal Bank or CIBC or Scotiabank or FCB, all of these banks offer e-commerce basically. They all do. So there's 6 banks locally that actually offer merchant services, and people don't know that. And so what you need to do is call the electronic channels or electronic banking division or the marketing divisions of those banks to get more information on it. And so if you have a business account, criteria 1, you apply for a merchant account, which is basically a virtual holding account for your e-commerce dollars to go into before it hits your real bank account. Then you need to get an account from First Atlantic Commerce, which is the regional partner. But there are other partners in the region. We're partners and we're developers for 2 other gateways in the region. But for Trinidad and Tobago, the gateway of choice and the main gateway here is First Atlantic Commerce. So most third-party companies they actually go through First Atlantic Commerce. So companies, once again, like, WePay, BuzzPay, and other companies that are now coming up would use First Atlantic Commerce as a medium for digital transactions. It's really that simple.
So could we say that First Atlantic is like the links of digital transactions?
I wouldn't really call them the links, but I would say that they are one of the largest players in the regional market, and their regional play starts as low down as Brazil, and it goes all the way up to Canada, and they also have a presence in Europe as well. So they're pretty wide, and because we're partners with them and we deliver e-commerce services through plugin integrations, our customer base is as wide as theirs as well. And now we're actually seeing a lot of growth for small businesses, especially in Latin American regions and other Caribbean islands. I think, Bermuda, Cayman Islands are on the up and coming, and Trinidad is there as well. But those are some of the countries that we're seeing going online really rapidly and trying to take advantage of this challenge that we're in. So
just one question then. I know we're talking about small businesses, but small businesses, that word means a lot, different things to a lot of different people. If you could guess or quantify a sort of like an income level in US, what would you sort of say that small business, what would that sort of fall under? Because it's not the guy selling homemade jams, out of his kitchen, but where would you put that range? Just to give people context.
So I think if I were to kind of even scale it down a bit more, we could even go as low as saying, well, we have micro businesses and then we have small businesses. And so micro businesses would probably fall under, I'm still working my part-time job. I may be making a few $1,000s a month. Sometimes I may be even making just 1,000 extra. And so I'm really micro. I haven't registered my business yet. I'm a sole trader still, and I want to go online. So in that particular case, a first-party commerce may not necessarily be the right thing for you initially because you don't have enough money to probably pay the monthly fees and still cover expenses, because it's still going to cost you some money on a recurring basis. These companies, these merchant companies also have to live too, and they're protecting your payments and so forth. So it's going to have a cost on that end. So you might want to go with a third-party service because, it's lower barrier to entry. It's faster access, once you fill out a few requirements. And so micro businesses are going to want to lean towards smaller platforms that can give them e-commerce with less stress and less financial burden initially. But as you grow, you are going to want to grow into your own services and develop more robust websites that can really help you to build a really proper business, because there's so much detail in there that you can learn from that you never had in a traditional business. And we had the conversation before, Robert, where you don't really know, put out a billboard out there where the customer came from if you also have radio ads. But digitally, you know exactly where they come from, the demographic, who they are, the age, all those things. So as you grow, you're going to want to use that data to make better decisions on your inventory management, as well as make better decisions on how you're going to get the same customer to come back and buy the same things that they love to buy from you in the first place. For example, what Amazon does with retargeting and so forth. They pretty much know what you're going to buy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Livewire Group just made a comment. He says its business is making, I'm assuming it's up to or under 1.5 million exclusive of real estate and assets. So, okay, I mean, that's a pretty wide range, you know.
That's actually a small business, correct, in our terms, yes. So I would say that's what I said, you know, the micro would obviously be smaller than that. It's a sole trader, basically maybe 1 to 2 staff, and they're obviously not making $1 million a year. Probably they're making a bit less, maybe a few $100,000, maybe even less, you know, we don't know.
And that's where you were saying that, you know, you may want to start at just accepting a payment, like a bill, like if you're as you said, a sole trader, you have 1 to 2 people and you just want to get a payment. You're not necessarily selling products online.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are a home-based retailer and you have products to sell, maybe you manufacture stuff, bathing suits, jams, whatever it is, it doesn't mean you can't set up a website. There are now platforms like Wix and Squarespace that, even though they may not be a local payment service, it's still a low entry, like $30 a month US. There's platforms like Shopify that is growing worldwide, and they're now actually almost catching up with WooCommerce. And so those are low barrier entry platforms. And then we also have a platform that we're launching next month under Buzz, and so those would be low barrier entry for small and micro businesses that really help to drive e-commerce to the smaller merchant that you know, a small monthly outlay is going to help them to catch themselves to grow. But I would say for any small business, the key strategy going forward is to over-invest in digital and to position yourself. And it's really what, you know, it's not even a strategy of mine. It's the strategy that, you know, companies like Deloitte and EY are saying, listen, you need to go really hard to position yourself. And the ones that can position themselves coming out of COVID are the ones that are going to be able to survive in case of another COVID. Because we have to think about it. This might happen again. And we don't want to get caught off guard again. So, you know, you don't have a second form of revenue, online channel. It means that, you know, if your shop closes anymore, or your shop closes on Frederick Street, then, you know, you're going to be closed again. And only essential businesses will survive, but they will also thrive and possibly take over some of your industries too, while you're home sitting down waiting to open. And we've seen that, you know. So those are things that we need to think about.
Okay, so I know I had asked you to I mean, I know we've gone all over the place, and I'm really enjoying it. Just to answer, Sean Gonzalez was asking, how in-depth is the safety for credit card transactions with these micro businesses using the more affordable e-commerce plugins and solutions? So I guess it's a bit of a technical question, but.
So I'll say this much, and I'll vouch for my company. Webgold is the official partner with, you know, many banks in the region. And we work with a lot of banks from, you know, Banco Credomatico, you know, in Honduras and Guatemala and stuff, all the way up the islands with, you know, like Republic and Scotia and all these other banks. So we're trusted, one. And so, you know, our platforms like Buzz are super solid. And I would go as far as to say they're pretty much as secure as, or even more secure than some internet banking platforms you're banking on right now. And that's because we actually work with some of these platforms as well. And whereas in the case of other platforms, I don't know if you're going to find that level of safety or granularity or security. And so what we do at Webgold is we ensure that security is our #1 priority. And we have a lot of tools that help to protect merchants, especially micro merchants. So for example, we have built-in real-time fraud analysis on every transaction. And we have AI working in the background to make sure that, you know, these transactions that may be fraudulent don't happen again if they do happen. And a lot of different things like that that's going on in real time. And, you know, we have an amazing team, and even some of our team members are, you know, are global. So, you know, they're working around the clock to help certain things happen on our end to make sure that our customers are protected.
Nice.
So I can't vouch for the others, but I would say, you know, if you want to guarantee your security, and I'm not really just pushing a plug, it's just reality, you know, our company can really handle our security game where that's concerned.
Okay. So Sean, I hope that answers your question. Stephan, so take me through, if you were to 5-step, you know, the ABCs, take me through, I'm a small business, I want to start, was the first thing. So I know you had started it earlier talking about, okay, well, you get a merchant account, and you can start through your bank. Let's continue that process. So I've got my merchant account, and I'm trying to set it up through the bank. I have to go to FAC, and then what next? I think a lot of people, and this is my question, I think a lot of people get stumped at the, all right, I've signed up and I have a website. Do I need to then hire a developer to make this all work? You know, that I think is a scary thing for people.
So there's some amazing things happening. I'll talk about it towards the end. Like I said, I'll save the best for last. But if you have a website already, you need to figure out, is your website compatible with the different tools that are available? And if not, then you're going to need a developer to integrate those tools. So let's say step one, get a merchant account. If you are going to be doing first-party transactions, in other words, you want the money to come straight into your bank account. Get a merchant account, which means you have to have a business account. Step two, get an FSC account. And even so, if you want to do step two first, you can. And our partners over at FSC, they will basically help to guide you to the bank that you would like to use in your particular country, or, you know, the bank that you're already working with in Trinidad, for example. So they will actually tell you, listen, talk to this person in Republic, talk to this person in Scotia. I mean, I'm partners with everybody, so I'm not going to say, I'm not going to leave out FCB. FCB is amazing at what they do as well. And,
so
they will tell you who to talk to. Then,
the bank is your preference.
Yeah. Then once you have the bank that you want to work with and you have the merchant account, then, it's just a matter of getting your website and maybe your plugin to connect the merchant account to the bank. And the plugin which basically makes them talk together. So it makes the money, it makes the transaction move from your website to FAC to then go to your bank. That's really how it works. So from an e-commerce transaction perspective, somebody comes on your website, they buy a product, it must be processed by FAC. And when that processing is complete, it goes into your bank account. Webgold just basically is the glue between all of that. And and that's basically how it works. When you go to the bank, they'll tell you, well, listen, this is what it's going to cost. Maybe there's some fees that you're going to have to pay either per transaction or on a monthly basis. It depends on the bank. Some banks don't have a monthly fee, but there may be an FAC support fee. And those things are really important because, you're dealing with transactions, and every time you have a transaction, there's about 150 different errors that could happen per transaction. So you need to have support, So these companies really help you to succeed by supporting you well, and that's what you're paying for. So you're saying, well, I don't want to pay $100 a month, but you know what? It's well worth it when you understand the kind of backing you get from these companies. Remember, they're putting themselves on the line for your business when a transaction happens. Right? So the third-party route is like, maybe you're using a couple of the popular names that pop up, like, maybe PayWise, which I don't know if they're now online fully, but, or maybe WePay, which is doing a lot of great stuff. And I think they have more solutions coming out. So, you're basically, plugging in to their systems using, your website, or maybe a point of sale or some other type of service. And you're able to obviously run your transactions through their systems and get your money and get paid as well. So because there's no upfront fees and it's just transaction fees, it makes it a little bit easier. And, but it still means that you have to have some technical know-how, or you have to hire a developer because you would still need to build your website. You would still need to have it, connected and integrated. And there's where there may be a cost, and, different companies would have different developers to do those things.
Okay.
All right. And we really looked at the market. I mean, we've been partners with Shopify for a while. We've been partners with we've been working with WooCommerce as well for a while, and we decided to extend what we were doing to release a new product next month. And that means that what we release is going to be a platform that allows you to do all of those things without having to be the developer or hire a developer. So literally we're going to be, so I'm teasing that we're going to be launching a new platform, and it's going to be for small and micro businesses, as well as enterprise can jump on as well. We're going to have some interesting partners at launch, and it means that if you want to do first party, you can. If you want to do third party, you can, and it's whichever one suits you. And it's going to have a very affordable price point, and the affordable price point means that for a micro business, you're going to be able to start from free. So we're going to have a free forever plan. and you have a small amount of products, you can join our Buzz Shops platform for free. And and depending on the services and the features that you need, you can always upgrade at any time to unlock a lot more amazing features. And it's something I'm really, really excited for, because we've been working on it for a couple of years, and it's now, I think the time is right, the market is right, and the interest is actually right and ready. And so it's something I think that we're really excited to share with people. And as early as next month, first or second week, we're going to have a technical preview, and then we're going to be launching it soon after that. So it's something you can look forward to. It's going to be pretty amazing, easy e-commerce for everybody. So if you sell physical products, go ahead.
I think I'm actually very glad that you said that, because one of the things that I've always found that stifled, let's say, creativity. I'll give a quick backstory. I launched long before Uber came to Trinidad. I started working on an app, same kind of thing, taxi service. We went to Jamaica for this big pitch thing. We tried to set up e-commerce, and it's one of those things where you kind of just need it. You just need it to get started, and then if the money starts coming in, then you can upgrade, right? But the barriers to entry at that point were just like, you need to have this, you need to have this, and we were like, we're not there yet. We just want to bootstrap this thing and get it going. And I feel like I was not the only one in the country that felt like that. Like, you had a product that you knew that you really believed in, and you think it could sell, but you just had these, like, the gap from here to here was just too much for a lot of small businesses. So I'm glad to say that.
Yeah, one of your biggest gaps probably would have also been the credit card penetration, which is one of the biggest gaps we have here in Trinidad as well. But I'm also pleased to say that that's going to be solved. I don't know if you all saw Karen, a good friend of mine, digital. He has a new digital show coming up as well. They just opened up the FCB Visa cards, and I think it was internal distribution.
Today.
Yeah, so a lot of the staff already have theirs internally, and it was mailed out. And now I think the public is going to be able to change out their cards. Last time I spoke to a couple of other banks, they were still in testing, so theirs will roll out as well. But what this means is that for some of them, the online feature for local payments will be enabled, and this means that the card or Visa acceptance credit card penetration rate is going to or card service penetration rate is going to skyrocket, which means that the market will now be ripe for e-commerce.
So if you're just to add to that, a couple of years ago, it's about a year and a half ago, I was with a company that happened to sort of hear about it first. And that was, so for those who don't know, actually, the credit card penetration rate, last I looked at the central bank data, was around 200,000 credit cards. Now, if you think about people who have credit cards, and some who have businesses, a lot of them have a personal one and a business one. So that's even less than 200,000. I would say
I have 4, so I understand the problem. Yeah, it's very low.
Exactly. So those who have multiple. So you're yeah. So now, by all of these banks rolling out this Visa debit card scenario, we have just an explosion of people who are able to buy online. Now, thankfully, or non-thankfully to COVID, we now have this big push of, we have to buy online. So I think, as you said, this is a perfect time for, if you were thinking about, if you were on the fence about, I'd like to get into e-commerce, but it's kind of expensive. I hope this talk has actually encouraged you to do so. We're going to have the customers, and we now have these services like what you're saying that Buzz is going to launch soon.
Also, there's a lot of incentive, Robert. FCB is going to be giving away, interest-free loans. Other banks will have other offers as well to compete. And then, we also have other financial partners that we're partnering with to offer capital financing, cash flow financing, and things like that. So, if you have a small business, and and those things would actually be some really cool things. I can't really talk about those partnerships as yet, but we're doing some really cool integrations as well. So you're going to be able to get responses to your finance in like 20 minutes, and in some cases in real time. So there's a lot of things that are happening in the financial realm that it's still in the works, but I think there's a lot of jockeying, a lot of positioning, and there's yet a lot more bombs to drop where banking and finance is concerned. And I'm really excited for the next few months, So businesses can look forward to a lot of opportunity, but it's not a down and wait for a hand me down. You must take the initiative to get yourself in a gear and use these tools to position yourself and then accelerate yourself. So one is positioning, figuring out what you should be selling with a focus. And then two, once you start to sell, learn really fast, adapt, invest heavily, and then, accelerate, grow really fast.
Okay.
So, and that's one of the strategies that I think people should try to adopt as a small entity. Invest hard in education and learning the ropes, because it's not like, okay, I put a website online and people are going to come. It's not a build and come thing. It's not an amusement park and it's not movie town. What it really is you have to put in the work to build the audience and build your product and build your customer experience. And it comes out to the whole convenience thing. The people who have the best experience are the people going to win. So it's really, bottom line.
For sure. We are a bit over time, but this is very exciting, very informative. I just want to recap and give you a chance to say sort of, last few words.
Sure.
The sort of, as Stephan had said, the sort of 3 steps to getting yourself online. You set up a business account with your bank. You can do it locally, and you get a merchant account with them. Then you have to get an FAC account, right? First Atlantic Commerce. And then the third part, which is usually a little bit daunting, but it's actually more and more doable, is get your website and the plugin to connect with each other. So FAC has a plugin that needs to connect to your website to set up your e-commerce. Now, if you're not tech savvy or if you're not a developer, you may need to hire one. But as Stephan was saying, this is not the future anymore. People are going to expect to be able to buy online. They have to now because of COVID. So the investment you're going to need to put into being able to sell and even be paid online is going to need to be there. It's going to need to be there. So Stephan, thank you very much. If you want to tell the people how to get in touch with you, because I'm sure everybody listening here is going to be very interested to find out about your platform. Let them know how to get in touch with you.
So you could easily reach me at Stephan, Stephan, at Webgold, webgold.co. And just reach out. And, I could tell you more about first-party payments if you want to, buy a plugin, connect your actual bank account to our website. And, we actually help you through these steps. And if you are interested in our Buzz Shops options and so forth, you can reach me at the same address, but you could also reach me at Stephan, Stephan, at buzz.tt. And that's if you want to, get on that list for the Buzz Shops platform, which is, full end-to-end e-commerce, including fulfillment support and really advanced tools to help small and medium businesses grow. This means that you're also able to sell online internationally, physical and digital products, as well as a couple other product types as well.
Okay. Stephan, thank you very much. Batters and Bits was just re-commenting your email address. Just I'm going to double check that is the correct stuff.
That's going to be accurate. Oh, she knows it very well.
Oh, okay. And Titi Amanda C says yes and invite us to the launch. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you very much for your time, Stephan. This was very informative. I learned a lot. And I thought I was fairly up on what's happening in e-commerce. So thanks again. And guys, Digital for Everyone here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Next week, we're going to have Niall McNish from King Caribbean on Instagram. He's going to be talking to us about going live on Instagram and kind of do's and don'ts. So, Stephan, thank you again. And
Robert, thank you for having me, and everybody, thank you for listening and staying around to hear this important talk. At least I think it's important because of the times that we're in and where businesses need to be, not necessarily should be. Thank you very much.
Definitely. All right, guys. See you.
Okay, then.